All right, hello and welcome to Lesson 16. This is Dave Hill coming at you with the Dave Hill Guitar Bible, Part 2, Single String Guitar. Okay, so we've been talking about a variety of scales in the last few lessons, mostly pentatonic, and we talked about the reasons those are important. I want you to keep studying those and continuing to work on those and work out on progressions. Okay, but we're going to get back into arpeggios today in this next lesson. And we're going to expand our concept of arpeggios. We've been working with triad arpeggios mostly up till now, but we're going to start getting into 7th chord arpeggios. Okay, so let's take a look at what we've got on the board here. We might have implied some of these arpeggios in other lessons, but we're going to really formally introduce them here in this lesson. Let me sit down and get comfortable. So, but once again, I want to stress how important it is to relate them to the caged system of study that we've been working from. Okay? So everything comes back to the shapes that we've been studying from the cage system. So when we talk about anything that relates to these these root locations, right, we already know scales that fit there, like the major scale. And we also know the pentatonic major pentatonic. We even studied last few lessons ago a triad, a major triad shape that more or less fits over that. Okay, so today what we're going to do is we're going to study a major 7th arpeggio that fits over that position. So check this out. Here's the chord. Here's the major 7th chord inside of that shape. Okay, and here is the major 7th arpeggio that fits over that shape. Okay. So take a look at the board right there. That's the first shape there that's right underneath the word major 7th arpeggio. And you can see what I've written there. It's the root, the 3rd, the 5th, the major 7th, the root, 3rd, 5th, and major 7th, and the root again. So this shape has 3 roots in it. Okay? And it really opens up your sound of a chord by allowing the triad plus the 7th to come out over a major chord. So it has more of a colorful, extended sound and a kind of a richer melodic shape than a triad. Okay, so that's kind of a neat thing to explore. It just gives your playing a lot more dimension. Okay, so, ouch. So when you hear that against a chord, you'll hear much more color now. Boy, isn't it? I'm playing it over a C in this case, but it's extending the color. Jumping around, but it's kind of cool to do that. Okay, so I was doing it in C in this case, and even without any color against the bass line, you could hear that it was extending the color of the tonic all the way to the 7th. Okay, so that's a nice effect, and it's a strong way to indicate a more extended jazzy sort of color over a triad or over just a bass note, is to play the full 7th arpeggio. Okay, so remember, it relates precisely over that shape, and the full chord would be, if you played it, let's say a voicing like this would work really well for it. Okay, I'm going to go back down to B flat. Okay, now the next shape that fits really nicely inside of this position is, you could think of as the 4 chord of the key. In this case, B flat. The 4 chord of B flat is E flat, and this 4 chord of the diatonic harmony is E flat major 7th. So we have that right there, and I've written that out for you there. You can see underneath there. Now you might want to take note of the shape that I'm using here. Notice how I slide with my third finger because I want to be able to actually, I might want to actually grab that major 7 on the top. I didn't write it on the shape, but you would literally just slide into it with this, bar across on the 3rd, get the 5th, and then stretch up to the major 7. Okay, so that's a good way to get that shape. So now you can go back and forth between, well then also check out the chord. Here's the chord that fits over that shape. So the chord gives you a usable voicing that will accommodate the notes of an E flat major 7 chord in this case, but the arpeggio would include all of them that you can play even to the lowest string where you may not even be playing the note. Okay? So, let's see. It'd be like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. So a lot of things you can do with that to make it more challenging and maybe more interesting. You could sequence the arpeggios. Let's go back to B flat. What do I mean by sequence? We'll simply play the notes of the arpeggio in a pattern that repeats as you go up. So you might say a group of 3 in an arpeggio would sound like this: 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I'm going up 3 notes at a time, but there's 4 notes in the arpeggio, so it takes me it takes me 4 times to get all the way to the top. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And there I am again at the next octave. 1, 3, 5, 3, 5, 7, 5, 7, 1, 7, 1, 3. Okay, and then 1, 3, 5 again at the top. So that's a major 7th sequence. So that's kind of an interesting way to play them as well. You might experiment with that. Or maybe you could go up 4 notes at a time and you could do this. That's another kind of sequence, and that's simply going up 4 notes of the sequence, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then going up to the next chord tone and going up 4 more notes, 1, in this case 3, 5, 7, 1, right? And that would be another way to sequence it. Okay, so you want to try to challenge yourself in the different ways to practice the arpeggio so you get more musical, creative ideas out of it. Okay, so now I've got. If you, I want to show you one other thing here. This is going to be important, but I'm going to get back to it after we look at the progression here. Okay, so let's take a look at this here. Now, I've taken the time to write our progression out. And let's take a look at what I've got. I've actually down and a half step down into the key of A, but I'm going to use the same shapes. Okay, and I'm going back and forth between the A chord and the D shape, so it's nice and connected there for you. Now, what's going to happen here is after we do the cycle twice through, we're going to go down to the relative minor of each of the major 7th chords. Okay, what do I mean by that? Meaning that we can go down and we can play. We can keep playing the major 7th. A major 7th over F sharp minor, because the A major 7 is a substitution over the F sharp minor. It's within the family of the F sharp minor chord, so it works out really well. When you hear F sharp minor, you don't even have to physically change to an F sharp minor arpeggio. You can just keep playing A major 7. It'll sound great against the F sharp minor, and likewise when you hit the B minor chord, you can keep playing D major 7 because it's a substitution. It can be applied over the B minor 7 chord for a neat effect. It'll basically create the sound of F sharp minor 9th when you substitute A major over F sharp minor. And why does it do that? Let's take a look at our board here. And I'll show you why. Here's a C major 7 arpeggio spelled out 1, 3, 5, 7, 1, 3, 5, 7. And here's an A minor chord. And here's another C major 7 written out over here. But when you put these notes together against A, what do you get? Well, I'll tell you. The C against the A is the minor third. Okay, that's a perfectly good note over the A minor. The E is the fifth of A, so that's a good note. The G is the flat 7 of A, but the B is what sounds like the ninth. This is the ninth of A. Okay, so the only thing you don't have is the root. When you play a C major 7 over the A minor chord, down a minor third, you create the sound of a minor ninth sound. And as long as the chord is being sounded from the A, it'll sound like a A minor ninth without actually having to play an A minor ninth arpeggio. You just keep playing C major 7 over it. So that's the idea with this progression right here, is that we're gonna use our substitution principles here. We're gonna play, we're gonna continue to play A major and D major right here, and likewise right here. Okay? So let's see how that's going to work. Here's our progression. Let's just take it nice and easy. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and oops, that was faster than I thought. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's D major 7, A. Now keep playing A. Now you hear how that sounds cool against the F sharp and the B minor. There it is again. Now here comes D again. Back to the top. Now here comes the F sharp minor. Again. I'm just going to improvise with them. And listen to how they sound more musical now when I start moving around. F sharp minor. There's that B minor. There's a sequence. Okay, so I didn't really do anything else but stick around pretty closely to the major 7th shapes on all those chords right there, and it's all diatonic, meaning it's all within the key, and so it's naturally going to sound pretty good. But with that just 2 shapes right there, and just using rhythms to make it interesting, you can tell a little story with arpeggios. And imagine what you do if you start combining other concepts, or you start playing around the neck, or you start using more, let's say, more devices. You start using more of the complete scales mixed in with your pentatonics, or you use chromatics, or you use slides, or whatever else you want to play in these kinds of progressions. So right now we're just working on arpeggio, so it's really effective as a source of practice. It's just to isolate a couple of shapes. Okay, so I want you to practice that over the next few days and make sure that you really know these shapes before we go into the next shapes. Okay, let's take a little break here for a second. Okay, so we're talking about major seventh arpeggios just a minute ago. Okay, we're still going to use our major seventh in this next workout, but we're going to combine it with some stuff that we've just talked about for the last couple lessons, and that's pentatonic scales. Okay, so why would you want to combine major sevenths and pentatonic scales? Well, all the stuff that we're talking about in our lessons here is the whole point of learning a variety of different scales and arpeggios and devices is to combine these things together to form your own style and to have more options when you play. So I often will use improvising devices that combine a multitude of things when I'm playing for different effects. So in this case, I'm going to try to use a major seventh arpeggio on the major seventh chord of this progression, in this case B flat major 7, or as a scale choice, I'm going to use F major pentatonic on top of the B flat major 7 chord for two different kind of flavors mixed together. Okay? Now on the G over A chord, this chord right here, I'm going to stick to just a D major pentatonic sound, okay? Just to make it a simpler sound over this chord. So I'm going to have to go back and forth between this device, which is more of a chord sound, right? To a pentatonic sound. It's just going to give us a little bit of a more squared off kind of cycle of sounds. But it'll be a nice blend together. So check it out. We're going to try this and tell me if you like it. Here we go. Here's major seventh arpeggio over the B flat and a D major pentatonic over the G over A. 3, 4. There's pentatonic. That's F major pentatonic. There's D major pen. Back to the arpeggio. So I think you'll agree that it has a nice kind of a blend between this chordal sound and this pentatonic sound working together. Okay? So that's another way that you could practice these things, is take two things that you've been working on and combine them together to make one solo device. Okay, so now it's your turn. Let's see if you can try those two devices together. So major seventh on the B flat arpeggio and then pentatonic on the G over A chord. Here we go. 1, 2. You know what to do. Sounds good. Okay, I'm going to help you out. Here we go, major 7. pentatonic. Okay, so you can have a lot of fun with just the simplest combination of musical devices like that. If you put them in different keys and kind of force yourself to go back and forth between the two sounds. Okay, so that's it for now. I hope you've had a good time working on this lesson. Keep working hard and tell all your friends about these videos, and we'll see some of those guys on the next download. See you later. Bye-bye.